Hello and welcome back to yet another video on the Alejandro Hernandez podcast. This is going to be my official rankings of the top 10 teams in the NFL after week 3. It was a pretty bad week 3 if I'm being honest for me. My biggest hot take of the week, the one I was preaching all week, was Rams upsetting the Eagles, and that ended with a gut punch for me. As a guy who betted the Rams, as a guy who was confident in the Rams being capable of beating the Eagles, going up 26-7 early in the game and still blowing it, that was definitely a huge gut punch. Then going on to watch the Giants on Sunday Night Football was also just another disaster. So a pretty rough week for me. But without further ado, let me just get into these rankings. I will note that the 10 teams from last week are also going to remain the 10 teams in this week's top 10 for me, but the order is going to change based on the performances from this past week. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Coming in at number 10, I'm going to have the Kansas City Chiefs dropping one spot. And I believe that their win over the Giants, their first half was looking really bad. It honestly looked at one point like the Giants generally had a chance to win the game. But Mahomes did play very, very well in the second half. The Chiefs looked like the Chiefs again in the second half. Like kind of the methodical way that they would drive the ball down the field against the team's will, play great defense, play good defense in terms of creating turnovers, getting sacks, getting pressure on the quarterback. They were able to do that effectively against the Giants. They were able to get pressure, create turnovers, and really on offense, it was Mahomes. It was Mahomes being Mahomes. And that's what you expect from the Chiefs. It was a good win. It was a good way to get back on track. And I'm keeping them in the top 10, although they are 1-2, because when you look back on their two losses now, in this particular ranking this week, they lost to two top 5 teams in the NFL, in my opinion, in the Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Chargers, and they did not get blown out. They lost by 3 to the Eagles and 6 to the Chargers. So when you're gonna look back on those performances, noting that they're without Rashee Rice, without Xavier Worthy, it is pretty impressive that they only lost by that margin. And coming up in week 4, it's a massive game between them and the Baltimore Ravens, and they play at home against the Ravens. And I give them a decent shot at winning that game. So I trust Mahomes. I trust the coaching staff. That was an absolute clinic of a performance by Steve Spagnuolo in week 3. He's the best defensive coordinator in the league, in my opinion. Mahomes and Andy Reid are the best coaching quarterback combo in the NFL. I don't know if I said NBA earlier. I meant NFL. But yeah, they're the best coaching quarterback duo in the NFL. So I trust them to turn the ship right. They should get Xavier Worthy back this week, so that'll be a boost to their offense. I expect the Chiefs to be just fine. They are going to compete for this division in the AFC West, and they are going to be in the playoffs. So I still have them as a top 10 team in the NFL. Now let's move on to number 9. I'm going to bump up the Indianapolis Colts one spot. It's time to take them serious. I kind of took them seriously after that win against the Broncos, but then I also had the Titans upsetting them in week 3, and that went to complete, that just didn't go well for the Titans at least. It's just, it's an indictment on Brian Callahan. I think he is the worst head coach in the NFL. He looked awful. The fans are calling for his job. He might get fired midseason. If not, I guarantee he will be fired at the end of the season. He's just not a good head coach at all. Situational football, he's awful. The Titans were awful in situational football and have been all season. He is failing Cam Ward's development, in my opinion. And the Titans just was not a good pick by me. But the Colts, on the other hand, let's focus on the Colts. Rather than that being the Titans sucking, let's give the Colts credit. They put up 41 points on offense. And Daniel Jones right now is putting up even better numbers than Josh Allen. And if you would have told me that at the beginning of the season, I would have laughed in your face. But here we are. Daniel Jones is playing MVP caliber football in Indianapolis. He doesn't look like the same guy in New York. I have to start accepting that fact as a Giants fan. Daniel Jones, this is the Indiana Jones version, not the Danny Dimes version in New York. He's got a new nickname. He's rocking new swagger. He's got a coaching staff that is showing confidence in him. He's executing very, very well. He's not making mistakes. And the Colts are leaning on their running game with Jonathan Taylor. Taylor is right now statistically the best back in all of football. You got to give him major credit and give the Colts offensive line major credit. And Daniel Jones is getting the ball effectively to his playmakers, which are Michael Pittman and Tyler Warren and Josh Downs, Adonai Mitchell, Alec Pierce. He's delivering strikes, man. So this Colts offense is legit. Daniel Jones is looking legit to start the season, and their defense is awesome, creating turnovers. So the Colts clearly have a winning formula, and we're going to see just how legit they are, and really if they solidify themselves in this top 10 ranking of mine when they go travel to the Rams and play in Los Angeles to play the Rams. That is going to be their biggest test of the season, in my opinion, thus far. And if they compete and they play well, and I don't think they're going to win, I'm going to pick the Rams to win that game, but if they do win, then we gotta give the Colts major respect. So for now, I'm going to bump them just one spot ahead of the Chiefs and leave them at number 9. Now for the next team at number 8 is going to be the Baltimore Ravens, who I have dropping from number 5 all the way down to number 8. It's a pretty significant drop for them, and it's because of Monday Night Football, last night's game against the Detroit Lions, or depending on when I'm releasing this video, either tonight on Tuesday or tomorrow on Wednesday. The Ravens, honestly, it wasn't this time. I had said in my previous video that the Ravens just beat themselves, but this time they just got beat. The Lions just straight up beat them. They went into their building, ran for over 200 yards, and allowed less than 100 yards rushing against that Ravens offense. So they shut down Derrick Henry, and they got 7 sacks in Lamar Jackson. That's like unheard of. It's really hard to sack Lamar Jackson. Yeah, their defensive line and their linebacking core did an excellent job of just keeping a spy on him, keeping him contained in the pocket, not allowing him to scramble. So I was very, very impressed by Detroit, and that Ravens defense is starting to become very concerning, extremely concerning. And what the Lions did was they just played man coverage on the Ravens. They challenged Zay Flowers to beat them down the field. They challenged Rashad Bateman to beat them down the field. And Lamar was struggling. Lamar was looking downfield and he was panicking. He was trying to escape the pocket running the ball, and the Lions had spies. So they played spies on Lamar Jackson. They played man coverage. They stopped the run, and the Ravens weren't able to attack them downfield. So they kind of released a blueprint on how to stop the Ravens. Obviously, you need the personnel to do that. They have Aiden Hutchinson, Brian Branch. They have great players in that defense that are capable of playing up to the Ravens standard. But overall, the Ravens got outplayed at home, and that you usually never see that happen. So for that reason, I'm going to have to drop the Ravens all the way down to 8. They are 1-2. They travel to Kansas City this weekend, and depending on how they perform in that game, it's going to be Lamar Jackson against Patrick Mahomes. Historically, Mahomes has dominated this matchup. So if the Ravens fall down to 1-3, I might have to drop them out of the top 10. But I still have respect for Lamar. He's still a top 3 quarterback in this league. And I think the Ravens will be fine. They're still going to win their division. They're still going to host a playoff game, probably as a number 3 seed. But it's looking concerning for them in terms of where they want to be and their expectations for the season to contend for a Super Bowl. I think they're far away from that. And they've shown that in the Buffalo game and in the Detroit game. And here we are. We're going to have the Ravens at number 8. Now at number 7, I'm going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers dropping down one spot. And it's not because the Bucs played bad at all. They actually went on a game-winning drive once again. All 3 of their wins have come on Baker Mayfield-led game-winning drives, which I think is a testament to Baker Mayfield. And how last week's video I made a case for Baker Mayfield as an MVP candidate. He is continuing that streak up. Now, heading into week 4, they are 3-0, and they're hosting the 3-0 Philadelphia Eagles. That game is going to be extremely, extremely good game, and I expect fireworks, and I expect Baker Mayfield to show up again and light up that Eagles defense. And they're expected to get both Tristan Wirfs and Chris Godwin back, which is major news for them, but they also might have lost Mike Evans for a couple of weeks due to a hamstring tweak. So I do believe that's a little concerning. I'm also kind of concerned about their pass defense. That was kind of exposed in this game as Garrett Wilson had a big game on that defense. So I'm scared for what A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith are going to be, or what they're capable of doing to that Tampa Bay defense. But overall, I love this Bucs team. I love Baker Mayfield. I believe their offense is amazing. They're definitely one of the top offenses in the NFL, and I trust them to be one of the top 2 seeds in the NFC. But as of right now, I can't put them higher because the 6 teams above them are just absolutely outstanding, and they've looked more impressive thus far. Although the Bucs are 3-0, their 3 opponents that they've beaten are the Falcons, the Texans, and the Jets, and as of right now, we don't really expect any of those teams to be in the playoffs. So for that reason, I'm going to keep the Bucs at 6. They can easily skyrocket up to possibly even the top 3 if they beat Philadelphia this weekend, so we will see. I might pick them to upset Philadelphia after what I just experienced with the Rams. I'm not entirely sure if I'm willing to do that yet, but we will see. I'm going to keep Tampa at number 7 for now. Now, heading into number 6, I'm going to rise the Detroit Lions in this ranking. The Lions looked extremely impressive. I kind of broke this down on the Ravens when I talked about the Ravens, but the Lions looked extremely impressive. To go into Baltimore, to physically dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, running the ball with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery down their throat for over 200 yards. Jared Goff was able to get whatever he wanted in the passing game, and that's because the running game opened up play action for Jared Goff, and he was making great decisions under pressure. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a top 5 receiver in this league. They still have Jameson Williams, and they still have Sam Laporta, so their offense is definitely one of the best in the NFL, and their defense was also extremely impressive, and I think that Week 1 was an overreaction. They lost Ben Johnson, they lost Aaron Glenn, and all of a sudden we think the sky is falling in Detroit. It clearly isn't. They still look legit. They still look like top Super Bowl contenders, and they're back in that kind of stigma in the league where everyone is widely regarding them as a Super Bowl contender. So credit to Detroit for going on the road in Baltimore, winning a game that pretty much nobody expected them to win, but they came out and beat the Ravens. They didn't need to have the Ravens to beat themselves. They beat the Ravens straight up in Baltimore. That is a massive win, and that's going to rise them up 2 spots in this power ranking. I'm going to have them at number 6. And if Jared Goff can play mistake-free football and they can continue to run the ball against the other teams will, this team is going to win a lot of games, and they could contend Green Bay for the NFC North title, and I expect them to do some damage in this year's playoffs. So give me Detroit at number 6 ahead of Tampa for now. And at number 5, I'm going to have the Packers. They have to drop after that loss to the Browns. That was really, really disappointing to see. They were up 10-0 late in the fourth quarter and somehow lost the game. It's just one of those games on Sundays when they say, quote, any given Sunday. The Browns was the team when any given Sunday could win when nobody expected them to. I believe on Sunday the Packers game was the largest spread of the weekend. Outside of the Bills game, it was, I think, 8.5 is what the line closed at. The Packers were winning by 10 and magically lost the game. So that's very, very disappointing to see. Their defense came to play. They had allowed 0 points up until like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, but Jordan Love and that Packers offense really got stymied by that Browns defense. And I think that's a credit to the Browns defense. I think the Browns defense is very, very legit. So I'm not going to really panic on Green Bay after that performance, but they did not look good at all. That's a game you expect them to win, especially if you consider them a top 5 team in the NFL, which I am. But they did end up dropping that game. So for that reason, I'm going to have them below 2 other NFC teams, which I will really reveal later in this video. So I'm going to keep the Packers at number 5. I still love their defense. I love their I don't love their quarterback, and Jordan Love. I believe he's not the most consistent quarterback, and he showed that in this game. He looked spectacular in weeks 1 and 2, fell off in week 3. So we're kind of seeing that roller coaster with Jordan Love. We're going to see how he performs on Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys. But for now, I can't have Green Bay higher than 5 because I still don't fully trust Jordan Love to be consistent for a 17-game season. But I do still think this team is great. Their defense is great, and they're going to win the NFC North in my opinion still. So for that reason, I'm going to have them at number 5. Now at number 4, I'm going to have the Los Angeles Chargers rising up to, I believe, 3 spots. I had them at number 7 last week. I'm rising them all the way up to number 4. Winning 3 straight divisional games is huge. Absolutely huge. They're 3-0 in their division to start the year, which hasn't been done since, I believe, 2006, or it might be even farther back in time. But this was a very, very impressive start to the season for the Chargers. Justin Herbert's looking like a clear MVP candidate. You got Quentin Johnson, who's having a year 3 breakout. Keenan Allen is turning back the clock all the way back to like 2021 Keenan Allen. He looks awesome. And haven't even brought up Ladd McConkey, who was supposed to be their number 1 wide receiver. Statistically, he's their wide receiver 3 right now in that offense. And Amari and Hampton finally broke out in week 3 as well. So this Chargers offense is clicking on all phases of the game, running game and passing game. And although Justin Herbert got the crap beat out of him by that Broncos defense, he was still able to hang in there and win the game for them. I trust their defense a lot. They've looked spectacular, and I trust their kicking game in Cameron Dicker, who has yet to miss a field goal. He's one of the best kickers in the league right now. So when you combine Justin Herbert playing at an MVP level, that defense playing extremely well, Amari and Hampton running the football well, you got 3 capable wide receivers, and you have a competent kicking game, this team is a top 4 team in the NFL without a doubt. And I believe right now in the AFC, there's the Bills, and then there's the Chargers. I think the Chargers right now look like the second best team in the AFC, and the closest team that I believe can challenge Buffalo in the AFC as of right now. So I'm really, really impressed with what the Chargers have shown for these first 3 weeks of the season. I don't think it's a fluke at all, and they're expected to start out 4-0 as they travel to New York to play the Giants this week. So I love the Chargers. I love the way they're playing right now. I love the way Justin Herbert has played. In tough situations, he has really prevailed, and he's shown that top 5 talent that he's always had, but he's finally fulfilling that talent with excellent play on the field in big games. And that was really my biggest question about the Chargers heading into this season. Can Justin Herbert win big games? He has shown that this year, beating the Chiefs and beating the Chargers, which are their 2 biggest divisional opponents. So credit to Justin Herbert and credit to the Chargers. I'm going to have them at number 4. Now coming in at number 3, I'm going to keep the Los Angeles Rams here at number 3. And how I could talk about Philly all I want, but I really want to focus on the Rams here. The Rams were up 26-7 on the defending Super Bowl champs. I believe I nailed my prediction when I said that the Rams would expose Philly. They did expose Philly, well, only for one half of football because Philly made adjustments. And they did expose them in the sense that they had -1 passing yards heading into the second half. Jalen Hurts was getting sacked time and time again. They were not moving the ball at all. They shut down Saquon, and the Eagles just flipped a switch in the second half, and the Rams weren't able to adjust. And it sucks because had the Rams just not had their final 2 field goals blocked, they win this game without a doubt. 2 blocked field goals costed the Rams this upset in Philly, which absolutely sucks because I believe they played well enough. Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Devontae Adams played well enough to win this game. This loss is not on them. I haven't even credited the running game. Kyren Williams and Blake Corum had an excellent game as well. The Rams offense played well enough to win this game. And yet the defense crumbled in the second half, giving up 3 straight touchdown drives to Jalen Hurts. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. And I believe this loss is kind of going to build a psychological bore in the Rams' head whenever they have to play the Eagles somewhere down the road. If they have to play the Eagles again in the playoffs this season, which they probably will, everyone's going to bring up the Eagles are 3-0 against the Rams the past 2 seasons. The Eagles have a psychological edge against the Rams now. They've beaten them 3 straight times. So I believe they needed to get this win in order to have that, all right, like this is now a rivalry. But now because Philadelphia's 3-0 against them, it's going to be really hard if they're going to face Philadelphia in the playoffs to beat them because of this momentum that Philadelphia and this psychological mental edge that they have over the Rams that, oh, we've beaten you 3 straight times. We own you. That's the attitude that Philadelphia is going to have going forward. In a game in which the Rams played well enough to win, they still could not get the job done, which sucks. But my overall takeaway from this game is that nobody plays Philadelphia better than the Rams in the entire league. In the entire league, nobody plays Philadelphia as well as the Rams. And no one is capable of beating Philadelphia right now except the Rams, in my opinion, in the NFC. The Rams will always remain the biggest threat to Philadelphia in the NFC. And if I had to predict the NFC, and if they play again in the NFC playoffs, whether it's in the divisional round or the championship game, I'm picking the Rams. I don't care. I'm just picking them. I'm going to continue picking them. They have to get the best of them at some point because they play well enough to win every single time they play them, but it ends up being one crucial mistake that ends up giving Philadelphia the advantage. And in this case, that's what happened. The kicking game failed them. And Matthew Stafford, despite the Eagles coming all the way back, having a 27-26 lead, Matthew Stafford still got his team down the field in range for a game-winning field goal, and it gets blocked. And the final score is 33-26 when right out of the second half it was 26-7 Rams. So it sucks, but it is what it is. It's a gut punch for me because I put money on the Rams and I put my reputation on the line for the Rams. I stuck my neck out for them saying that they were going to beat Philadelphia. I had never been more confident in a prediction ever, and it was looking great after two and a half quarters, and then it just went to complete hell after that. So credit Philadelphia. I'm going to have the Rams at 3, and ahead of them I'm going to have the Philadelphia Eagles at 2. And they really figured something out in that second half. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if Kevin Patulio is relieved of his duties after this week because he's the one that's holding this offense back. Everyone wants to look at the Eagles have a fullback playing quarterback. The Eagles have a running back playing quarterback. Jalen Hurts isn't a good thrower of the football. That is all blasphemy. It's blasphemous to say that because once again in this game, Jalen Hurts proved that when he's put in a situation when he needs to throw, he can, and he will. And he will beat you that way because he can. But the Eagles have not asked him to do that because they haven't needed to because of Saquon Barkley. Well, in this game, Saquon Barkley was shut down. So Jalen Hurts in halftime went to the coaches and was like, put the ball in my hands and I will win us this game. And that's exactly what he did. 3 passing touchdowns in the second half, played a flawless game in the second half. So I do not blame the Eagles' offensive struggles on Jalen Hurts, as does the majority of the media. But I believe it was due to the play calling. The play calling was extremely conservative, and they finally threw that script out the window in the second half and they finally unleashed Jalen Hurts, and he was able to show the world, hey, I can throw the football as well as anyone in this league, and I can outduel anyone in this league. He's outdueled Mahomes, he's outdueled Josh Allen, he's outdueled Lamar Jackson, and he outdueled Matthew Stafford once again. So give Jalen Hurts his props. In this offseason, I said Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. I'm going to stand on that opinion once again. Because when he's put in situations when he needs to go win his team the game, he can do just that. And people think that because he doesn't, he can't. It's not that he can't, it's that he's just not asked to do it. But when he is asked to do it, he most certainly can. So very, very encouraging performance from Philadelphia. Very good fight. Heart of a champion performance in that second half. They won a game that they had no business winning. So give them credit. They're 3-0. They look like the best team in the NFC. They are the best team in the NFC at the moment. That crown still remains in Philadelphia. So give me the Rams at 3 and the Eagles at 2. And coming in first place, it's the Buffalo Bills. Like I've said in the past couple videos, until someone beats the Bills, I'm not going to take them off the 1 spot. That's just the way it's going to work the rest of the season. They are my Super Bowl pick. They are my pick to win the Super Bowl. And I'm not going to drop them unless they lose a game. And how can I? I mean, they look flawless right now. Josh Allen is playing great football. He's playing the best football of his life. I think even better than he was last year. And now he has a competent run game in James Cook. James Cook looks like one of the best backs in the league right now. That offensive line is playing great football. So they have Josh Allen playing MVP caliber football. They have James Cook running the football at one of the best rates in the league. Combine those two, you have an unstoppable offense right now. And the defense, they are going to get right. They looked kind of shaky in that Miami game because they were without Ed Oliver and Matt Milano. They are going to get both those players back. So expect the Bills defense to look better in the next coming weeks. And when you have Josh Allen, you're always going to have a chance to win a ton of games. I have the Bills getting the number 1 seed in the AFC right now. I believe there is a gap between them and the Chiefs and the Ravens. The Bills have started 3-0. The Ravens and Chiefs have both started 1-2. So that is a massive, massive win for the Bills to start this season. They are going to coast to the number 1 seed in the AFC. And again, until someone beats them, I can't drop them from the number 1 spot. And that is going to be it for this video. And I will see you guys next time for when I release my week 4 picks.